Hello sausages and welcome to Tom and Oliver Eat the Country. Now, who's Tom and Oliver? Well, I'm Tom, my name's Tom Radford. I do a thing called Eat the Country. I'm a forager. I'm a big fan of local, seasonal, sustainable British food. And Oliver Gladwin, my great friend who's a chef, a bon vivant. He's very passionate about food. He's a restaurateur. He's got a vineyard. They have a farm where they get lots of sustainable produce for their restaurants. But he loves to create brave and sort of intense, crazy recipes using seasonal ingredients and whatever else he can find to create some really surprising things. So what are we going to do? Well, every month we're going to be somewhere different and we're going to use seasonal ingredients, be they wild and foraged, or be they from local producers or somewhere in the British Isles or the waters around this island. We're going to have some great food, we're going to have some great fun, lots of adventures, drink lots of wine, meet local characters, possibly foragers, possibly other foodies, and basically show you what you can do seasonally with stuff you can find in the UK, and how to cook it in interesting ways. Not just, oh, that grass is an alternative to spinach. So this month is January. We went to the seaside. Why? Well, because there's not a great deal to forage this time of year, so we thought we'd have a lovely day out to start off. Oliver, being the resourceful chap that he is, bought some lovely ingredients and some seasonal ingredients and some rather unusual ingredients that you wouldn't normally expect. Also, he bought some of his delicious wines as well for us to drink, and I bought some of last summer's Sloe gin. Now, we were at Climping Beach in Sussex. Why is it called Climping? I don't know. What is Climping? Climping sounds like running along with your buttocks glued together. Or perhaps when you're on the toilet, you realise you're out of paper and you've got to run across the house to get some more and run back. You climp along, trying not to be noticed. Or perhaps there's some more profound Celtic or even Saxon reason for the name. I'm not sure. If you do know, do let me know. Anyway, without any further ado, Tom and Oliver eat the country. Rather alarmingly, Oliver turned up with a chainsaw and proceeded to start chopping up wood. But there was no need to be alarmed. All he was doing was a little bit of chef's nest building, getting a fire ready to cook for the day. And then finally, he spent some moments thoroughly checking his tools, like every good chef should.
I love crab. It's one of the most delicious parts of the ocean's
I think
coastline.
it's tastier than lobster.
Absolutely. I would go crab any day over lobster.
Yeah.
Especially on like a freedom air, cold, lots of mayonnaise, nice crispy breadsticks. I love roux, the mayonnaise made with saffron and garlic and lemon juice. That with crab and a bottle of white wine.
I don't move in those circles. I'm hoping by hanging out with you I'm going to find out what this stuff is, but I've never heard of that. Sounds great.
Yeah.
He does amazing things with butter. He does things that a man of his age shouldn't do with butter.
Just have to be patient with my fire.
I suppose it doesn't generate as much heat as you think, does it? I mean, it looks quite hot. I can feel it from here. It's the first warm thing that's happened today.
Yeah.
Apart from your personality, obviously.
Oh, thanks. Good timing, that.
Where do you get your crabs? Are they chroma crabs or?
This will be Portland.
Portland?
Portland brown crab, yeah.
Portland as in Portland Bill?
Portland in Dorset, yeah.
Oh, not Oregon. Okay. Oh, right. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
One of my favourite spots. My uncle used to be in charge of the base there, the weapons testing on the missile on the base at Portland.
Right.
Many years ago.
Really?
Now he's old.
Yeah.
He's just in charge of his wife now. She's mad. She sees angels. Wow. But she's lovely. She's my godmother. Now, Portland Crab, the company is registered sustainable, and they basically do things that are sympathetic to the environment. You don't be greedy, don't cause damage to the environment, don't take too much, don't take crabs that are too small, be responsible and follow the rules. It's fantastic quality meat, some of the best in the UK. And Oliver chose to use the dark meat for the omelette because it's got it's got that lovely sort of taste of the sea. Remember crab fish paste when we were at school? It's like that, but like 1,000 times better. Lovely and fresh and delicious. And it really creates a really rich omelette. And on a very cold day, it's absolutely fantastic. So we're going to have some nutty, which is, we've had nutty before. It's your sort of like flagship sparkling, isn't it?
That's correct.
Hey!
Cheers. So 2018 was not the best yielding year at Nutbourne Vineyard, but we got the sugar levels up to high enough where we have dosage in the winery that allows us to have real consistency over the years, and that's what we add on the second fermentation to give it the sweetness and the balance.
Anyway, cheers, old boy.
Cheers, Tom.
I've got an ice cream. I absolutely love this wine.
So delicious.
It's just balanced, just right.
With a bit of crab. Shall we have some crab?
Let's have some crab, yeah. Oh, that's great. That's really, you know, the crab taste, it's that lovely salty sea sort of taste. But
a forager's breakfast.
Absolutely a forager's breakfast. After that, a little drink. I knocked up something using Sloe gin from last year and some of Oliver's lovely Nutbourne nutty sparkling wine. Just a sort of loosener to get us going for the day. So it's going to do a quick opening cocktail of the day. Now, it's not really a cocktail. It's something you could do with the Sloe gin, because obviously this is a perfect time of year. You don't just drink Sloe gin at Christmas. When it's cold like this, it's perfect. Now, this is Sloe gin that I made in September after one of the foraging walks. I had a load of Sloes left over. It's 1 part sugar, 1 part gin, 1 part Sloes. Actually, in this one, there's a little bit less sugar, a little bit more Sloes and gin, so it's a little bit drier. And essentially all I'm going to do is put a little bit in a glass like that. Might get a few Sloes in there, don't worry about that. Oh, and I'll do the same here. Hope you won't fall over. It's like making something like a Kir Royale that you could make with Kir. Basically the same sort of principle you have here. And you just top it up with fizz. But it's actually very refreshing. And actually, this is something you could have in the summer as well. I quite often drink Sloe gin in the summer because we make quite a lot of it. And I have it with soda, and it's quite a nice summer drink. So it's not just for Christmas, it's like puppies. There we have a Sloe gin fizz. Very simple, not really a cocktail, but a kind of a loosener, you know? I hate to interrupt a busy chef, because that's a very dangerous thing to do, but that's just something to keep it going.
Looks amazing, Tom.
Anyway, it's just a September Sloe gin with a bit of your nutty.
Like a Sloe Royale.
A Sloe Royale, yes.
Cheers. To Sussex and its great British coastline.
Oh, that's an easy drink. That's a very easy drink.
Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah, very simple.
Stings the back of the taste bud.
Goes down the little pink lane like a greased pig. Next, oysters. Now, oysters are fantastic things. What do we know about oysters? Are they an aphrodisiac? Well, Casanova, the famous lover, used to knock down about 50 of these bad boys before going off on a sexual rampage. In fact, it's true that they do contain zinc, which apparently improves your sperm. I don't know if it improves the flavour, or the colour, or the weight, maybe even the distance. So therefore, it may be an aphrodisiac. Or maybe it just makes your sperm less likely to rust, slightly magnetic, and taste a little metallic. Now, oysters are fantastic creatures. They're bivalves. They filter tons and tons, gallons and gallons of water, and keeping the oceans clean. But of course, once you eat an oyster, you have to be very careful. They have to be properly treated, cleaned out, and because a bad oyster is a very bad thing. Now, did you know that the ancient Greeks used to use oyster shells for voting, like voting tickets, like voting slips? The phrase ostracised, which basically means to be sort of scapegoated and cast out, comes from using the shells, and obviously if you don't get as many votes, then you are cast out and you lose. You've been ostracised. There you go, a little fact for you. Oyster time.
It's oyster time.
Now, which oysters are these? Where are they from?
These are Malden rock oysters.
Malden, where's that? Where's that?
Up on the Essex coast.
Oh, nice.
They're beautiful. They're about 2-3 years old. They're called AAs. You get a bigger one, which is AAA. But
like the batteries.
They like the batteries. But they eat the best. And I'm just going to open one here.
Do you think the double A's eat the best?
Yeah, the double A's eat the best. They hold the most sort of structure. Nobody wants a full mouth of an oyster. You know, if they're too big, you can't enjoy it. So
yeah, I've broken up with people for less.
I'm just going to put my oyster knife into the top of the shell, and instead of clipping it open, which is your natural stance, I'm just going to lift like that on one side, and I felt the shell just lift up from.
Well, it's a sort of suction, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I'm just going to cut back with the length of the blade off the top of the oyster, and look how beautiful that one looks. I mean, I'm just going to take off the bottom, the foot, and then just turn it over, and that's how we will serve, you know, an oyster in our restaurants.
So, what's your favourite oyster topping?
Well,
because there's various ones, isn't there?
I love the traditional mignonette, shallots, red wine vinegar, and white wine vinegar. and reduce it slightly so it's caramelized a bit. I love that.
What are your thoughts on, some people are frightened of getting sick from oysters and stuff. Do you have any sort of tips on how you can sense anything about them, or is you give them a smell? Or
Yeah, it's quite obvious when you see a bad oyster, but you've got 12 days shelf life on it from the fridge.
12 days,
Yeah.
really? I didn't know that.
You can see that it's not plump, it's dry in the middle, so literally open up, it's dry.
So it's dead.
There's nothing to it, yeah, and you know that the water's leaked out of it or it's got warm, or you don't want to eat that. So I'm just opening these guys up, making sure that round the rim there's no shell or crust from it. I think oysters in general have this most incredible umami depth of creamy, salty flavour. And I think today we're going to make a blood orange dressing, but make them into pearls by cooking it in a pan on the stove, heating it up, and then putting some agar, which is a seaweed gelatinous product, whisk it in, and then I'm going to pour it into this cold oil, and it's going to solidify into spheres.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. There we go. It's going to be great.
You're
You're going to love it.
This is not going to be how you've ordinarily had oysters. This is like, we're going to go top chefy here. So it's obviously one of those little secrets, isn't it?
Well, I've been a chef for a long time, and I've learnt these techniques because I've watched chefs do it. So when the blood orange is cooked with the seaweed agar, it needs to dissolve at 86 degrees, just below boiling point.
does have these precise numbers.
Well, I like it. That means that there's a recipe for it, and that's a process. And once it engages to above 86 degrees, the agar starts combining with the molecules of the blood orange juice. That makes them sticky, and when they cool into a gel, and all we've done here, or will do, is make the cooling part really rapid. So as it drops into the cold oil, it's going to sphere and shrink into little balls. And that's great cooking. That's local and wild cooking. You don't need to be in a stainless steel kitchen to cook well. You can do it anywhere if you're really good at it and you love it.
Yeah.
Now these are Malvern oysters, and they come from Essex. The people have been farming oysters here for a long, long time. In fact, Henry II in the 12th century originally licensed this area. Henry VIII, being the gigantic lump of meat that he was, used to eat 300 oysters as an appetizer. No wonder his nipples were the size of dinner plates and his legs were wider than redwoods. The Malvern Oyster Company have been doing this since the 1960s, some of the best oysters in Britain. Of course, rock oysters aren't native to the UK, but they are the easiest ones to farm. Did you know the world record for eating oysters in 3 minutes is 187? Just contemplate what that's like. It's like snogging a fish 187 times in 3 minutes.
The blood orange, and you don't want to overboil it. There we go, it's good timing. The winds come up. But right now, the gelatinous value of the agar will allow the liquid to set. If I can pour this right in this wind, into this oil. These pearls, and as they drop down, as they're warm, they will solidify into little blood orange pearls, which is a beaut, isn't it? I mean, if you can't cook on an open fire on a beach losing your hat like that, I don't know what we should be doing. So we've got a Malden oyster, which is AA, so a perfect size, not too big, not too small, and I've made these beautiful blood orange pearls from boiling with the seaweed.
Okay, well, chin chin.
Cheers.
That's such an unusual combination that really, really works. It's an oyster with a sort of a tangy, sweet background. It really is, that's amazing.
Delicious, isn't it?
I never tasted one like that.
Now we have Oliver's outrageous scallops. I think scallops are one of the most delicious things you can see in the sea. They're quite remarkable creatures. They're one of the only bivalve that can sort of jump. And they use their bivalve action to sort of jump and skip along the seabed, which are the only bivalve that can do that. Also, they can live about 20 years, a scallop. And one interesting fact about them is they have about 200 eyes. Can you imagine having 200 eyes? If you blink 200 eyes at once, you'd get whiplash. I think if all of the scallops in the sea blinked their eyes at the same time, there'd be a tsunami. Now, scallop shells have traditionally been associated with pilgrims. If you go on like pilgrim journeys, often like there are shells to mark the way. I don't know why they're associated with that, but there it is, one of those random facts. I think they're associated with St. James, who was the patron saint of fishermen. And there are lots of strange stories about St. James. One that he drowned in the sea, and when he came out, he was covered in scallop shells, or maybe just covering covering the important bits. Speaking of which, we know that Venus, in Botticelli's famous painting, emerged from the sea in a scallop shell.
I've got some cornflour here, and these scallops.
And that's just fresh sea salt, yeah?
And fresh sea salt. And I'm just going to pop these scallops in the cornflour, the egg whites, just to get that.
Why are you putting the cornflour on there? You know, I mean, obviously.
So the egg whites stick to it.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And then we're going to go scallops into this secret ingredients, which
We're not
is
telling you what it is. We're not telling you.
known as.
If you know, write in the comments.
Okay, there we go. Well,
It's like toenails, but it isn't.
yeah. But it comes out looking extraordinary. But wait until it's cooked.
That's like a hedgehog's testicle.
Well, it will come out looking like coral from the bottom of the ocean. And I'm going to spice it up with paprika and cayenne pepper just to give it that sort of floury finish. And this has got to be like 180 degrees plus, just so these guys puff properly and the scallop is still tender when they're cooked. So they're going in, one at a time. Lots of oil in there, make sure they puff. And look at them.
What is the coating on the outside?
Yes, absolutely.
This is your last.
Okay, while these are cooking, I've got a dressing for these scallops. I've made a dill oil, a Ghostbuster green dill oil, made with spinach, dill, oil, reduction, and I'm going to add double raw. Okay, these scallops, I want the golden brown on one side. Look, oh, they're outrageous. Oh, and it's just so much fun to cook like this. But I wanted to show you the inside of it. I'm not sure anybody's ever seen one before. But I call it a melon radish, or a watermelon radish, or a rainbow radish.
Look at that!
Look at what comes out.
It's like one of those Japanese ones, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm going to serve
Oh, lovely.
some of these
Wow, lovely.
here. Bit of discipline of making sure they drain slightly.
Was that just olive oil, or was it?
No, that's
groundnut oil, or?
that's sunflower
So
oil.
just like a nice
or
flavourless oil, really.
rapeseed oil. Yeah.
I've never seen a scallop like that. Look at the state of that. That's amazing.
Okay, so now for the bit of seasoning, bit of fun style. So I've got some fun style, I called it, but this is like paprika, cayenne, sweet smoked paprika, you know, all of. And I just love how it sort of flexes the top of it and get it on the, you know, let's get it everywhere. This is where it should be at. And then a slither of, or a juice into that dressing, yeah. There we are.
So once again, what's in the dressing?
So we've got this green, Ghostbuster green dill oil with raw Sussex cream, and it's split beautifully thanks to Charlie stirring there. And with the scallop on top like that, I mean, you couldn't ask for a bit of touch, you know. That's
I've never seen a scallop so dressed.
here we are. Look, that's a local mild scallop, everybody.
Let's say that. Isn't that amazing? I think that's, yeah, that is a round of applause.
Oh,
right? That is a round of applause.
I had to turn it around, Charlie. They always say that.
Yeah. Well, we need to try these.
Okay, so shall I get some forks?
I think we should go in.
Hey, my dear friend Charlie, who I went to prep school with, Dorset House, just over the hill there, runs the most amazing cafe in Littlehampton. And we used to do some leg swim bowling together, didn't we, sir?
Did Oliver?
Yeah. But tell us what you do.
Long gone.
Tell us what you do in the cafe.
So specialty coffee, we're just down the road, Edge by the Sea it's called. My father's a coffee roaster, so he's been doing it for about 30 years. All the coffee comes from him. It's always as good as we can get. Lovely bacon bats, very simple menu, breakfast bats, meat from the butcher, bread baked every morning for us. All good stuff.
Yeah, what a beautiful family they come from. Hey, we're going to try scallops today. These have been cooked in a secret ingredient. They're puffy, they're corally, they're really naughty, and they're being served with some dill oil split cream dressing. I think that's it, isn't it? That's a shot. Oh, hello. Oh, hello.
Oh God, that is absolute filth.
Oh,
It's
hello.
it's what you dream fish and chips would taste like. I mean, it's like
It's so sweet.
So fish and chips, isn't it?
the scallop is so sweet, it's crispy. It's got the dill coming through.
Yeah, really good.